I'm on the cliff at St Aldham's Head by the Worth Memorial to honour the radar research done at Worth in the Second World War. During that time, Worth was Britain's Silicon Valley. It was our first line of defence against bombers and against invasion, and it was also the place where there was developed the precision radar bombing aids and the aids which helped us guide the course of the D-Day invasion. With me is Dr. Bill Penley, one of the radar pioneers. He had a distinguished career as one of our top defence researchers, but the events of World War II, when he was a young researcher working here at Worth, are very vivid to him.
Radar was so important that by 1942 there were 2,000 of us. Some of Britain's best brains developed the radars we take for granted in ships and aircraft today. You can see that if we had been standing here and looking south towards the sea like this, we'd have been looking at B-Site, and we'd have seen a 240-foot, 75-metre wooden aerial tower surrounded by a lot of huts just being completed, which we scientists and engineers occupied for research laboratories. If I now turn my back on B-Site and look north, in 1940 I'd have been looking at E-Site, 100 yards away across the field. This had the biggest aerial tower at Worth, a 360-foot steel giant. So here we are in 1940 in imagination, with our backs towards the biggest aerial that we had at Worth, the 360-foot steel tower. As we look across the fields to our half right, we see Rencombe Farm, where Mr. James the farmer lodges a couple of the luckier scientists and sells us all milk and eggs. Beyond his farm we can see the double wooden towers of the operational Chain Home Station on A site and the gantry aerials of the Chain Home Low Station rotating slowly. In the distance, towards St Aldham's Head, we can see smaller towers of Seaside and the St Aldham's Chapel. We can't see the operational Chain Home Low Station there, as it is on a ledge down the cliff, but we know it's there, watching out for low-level raiders.
In the midst of the battle, some strangely peaceful scenes can be seen. An old biplane towing up gliders and towing them to the middle of the channel to release to glide gently back to Worth. The reason was that the Germans had used gliders to attack the Belgian forts at Eben Emael, and we were very worried that they might use gliders to attack Britain, so we wanted to see if they would show up on radar. I'm sure that the glider pilots must have some interesting tales to tell their children. They're worthy, I'm sure, of either a gallantry medal or of sectioning under the Mental Health Act for the activities that they undertook in the middle of the Battle of Britain, doing gliding back here to Worth.
In 1940, two scientists, Randall and Boot, had the task of developing higher power at microwaves, and they achieved success with the magnetron. This is a lot better than was expected, and when Jimmy Rowe saw it, he said, "This will win the war." Radar on ships or aircraft was significant. Leeson House played its role in creating that.
Tillywem, which is at Durlston Head about a mile to the south of the bay at Swanage, also has its place in history, because here there was the ground stations for one of the RAF's precision bombing radars, Oboe.
The plan was for a parachute drop of commandos, one of their number being an RAF Flight Sergeant Cox, a radar specialist who would identify the key parts of the equipment, sketch as much of it as possible and dismantle it for the commandos to carry down a cliff path to fast motorboats which would be waiting at the bottom of the cliff. Far from being a place safe from air attacks, Worth and I were in the front line of attacks from France.
So Purbeck did radar research, but it did more. Purbeck had the highest concentration of operational radars in the United Kingdom. Early warning, low-level early warning, and ground control of interception run from Worth. Radio navigation for ships and for bombers from Brandy Bay at Tyneham. Blind bombing beams were controlled from Tillywim near Swanage, and there were radar spy stations at Acton and at Swanage, with radar training schools at Forres. In 1962, most of Worth's aerial masts were demolished and the site completely cleared. In 1967, the GE station itself closed and Worth's final aerial mast came down. Whether you are interested in the evolution of the radar we use today or in the local history of Purbeck, you will be able to enjoy this fascinating and often exciting story as told by some of those involved. The DVD includes visits to site locations together with many exclusive photographs from 70 years ago. This hour-long DVD, filmed in widescreen with stereo sound, is available here and from other local outlets. The proceeds from its sale go entirely to the Purbeck Radar Museum Trust charity. We hope you enjoy watching it.